YouTube, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Off Angle Podcast. My name is Jaden. I'm joined by Spencer and John. Unfortunately, Josh could not join us today. We're going to do a quick Cluj recap as well as some other fun stuff. So before we get into the episode, Spenny, how was your week?
It was good.
Is it good? Yeah,
Just,
elaborate. Break that down.
just chill vibes.
Just
Full
chill
week.
vibes.
Just one exam done.
Nice.
Prepping for another.
Not nice.
You know how it goes, my boy.
What
Send it
about you,
over to
John?
John.
Yeah, talk to me, John.
Just work.
Work?
Nothing crazy.
Just a bunch of miserable.
No games this week since Sunday, so not much to do while I work.
Yeah, I feel that. We'll get into Sunday, but are you like a watch at work kind of guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's the best way
Yeah,
to
I always got
works
either
from
like a
home.
podcast or a
Yeah.
game on the second monitor.
Okay. I like that. Working from home has its benefits. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
I'll say that. Chill week for me as well, man. I didn't really get up to too much. Haven't played a lot of Counter-Strike. I did a lot of studying, but kind of in the same boat as Spenny. Just fucking miserable doing some schoolwork, things like that. So enough about our miserable lives. Let's get into a Cluj recap. Who wants to kick this off? Who wants to get started?
Spenny, do you want me to?
Whoa. Guys, calm down.
All right.
You start, John.
So I think we can probably work our way up to the final.
Yep.
Rather than starting with it. So I guess nothing in groups really stood out to me as maybe too crazy. Other than maybe like Saw making it past groups into playoffs.
Mickey
but-
Mouse.
Mickey
Dead team
Mouse,
buff, yeah.
like I think they beat
They did beat 3D Max though, so
they did beat 3D
props-
Max, which is who I
props to
wanted
that.
to make it through, which sucks. And maybe the dead team buff really is just too strong, but they didn't surprise me. They didn't wow me. Even the game against 3D Max, it was more 3D Max blowing it than
Yeah.
Saw looking good.
Yeah, and I think like the dead team buff sure is a thing. They played okay. Nothing that like I don't know. It was such a Mickey Mouse like not format, but like they really didn't get tested until they played 3D Max in my opinion. So it's like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's not like a wow Saw showed up and like performed. It's just like yeah they showed up and they didn't play like ass. So congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah I don't know. It was cool, but I
I'd be lying
definitely
if I said I watched any of these games, bro.
I definitely wanted to see 3D Max a little deeper into this one because they're a very fun team to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with that. What were the
Yeah.
games after that? What was the? I don't.
just
It was so
playoff
long ago.
structure
I
at
don't
that
recall
point.
how it shook out.
So playoffs, like first round matchups were Pain versus Mouse, Mongols versus Astralis, Falcons versus Eternal Fire, and FaZe versus Saw.
Yeah,
FaZe like walks through Saw like it's nothing.
yeah.
Falcons call it an upset over EF. I would.
I
That
think
went
EF
to
was
the third
comfortably one
round.
of the 2-3 teams that we expected to contend for the semis and finals, right? Like,
I think FaZe and EF were like the two favorites.
yeah,
to the
like
tournament,
no one would
if
be
you asked
surprised if
most
EF
people.
came out with the win at this tournament. In my opinion, like that's the form
Yeah.
they've been at. So yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of upsets getting to the top of the bracket though. Getting deeper
Yeah.
into the tournament, which I would like to touch on later, but yeah, it shook out a lot more different than I thought.
Mm-hmm. I think we might have to have like we'll see how the trend continues, but Eternal Fire, like so far, such a great start to the season. But stage is a problem for
It looks like
everyone
it's-
not named Zontaris and
Yeah.
maybe Joda, but he's still pretty young, so it's like
he's young. The thing
to
with
tell.
Joda to me is he's never gonna like blow you away, but even when he
he
gets on the
shouldn't be your
stage-
second best player.
No,
on stage.
not on that roster. And he gets on the stage and he's still doing his average performances. The problem is those average performances are the second best performances on the roster in these
Bro.
stage matches, and it's just
Throughout this group stage, though, Woxic was consistently the best or second best player on the team.
Yep.
And then
yeah,
he
but
goes
they're
to the playoffs
consistently
and he has
gross
a
in the
point.
group stage.
Yeah,
Like
but I'm saying Woxic has to is the one
He's
falling off the most in
He
yeah,
playoffs
is.
right now.
the guy with the most LAN wins on this roster is struggling to perform
Yeah.
on the big stage,
Yeah.
which is not something you want to see.
Like, I'm not sitting here like, wow, Major needs to step up and get more frags. Like, that's
Mhm.
not how they're gonna have success deep into tournaments. So, and I
Yeah.
actually think Major played okay. I think they
Yeah,
all kind of ghosted on the
I
stage outside of Xantar's, but like Major did more than I would have expected from him.
I think he called like a decent game. I
Mhm.
only caught 2 of the maps for EF Falcons, but like when like someone that you rely on to work a lot of positioning in the map and to get a lot of early picks into a game is unable to convert. Like as an IGL, it's your job to like find and work around that, but like
You
what
can't
do
click the
you
mouse for them. Like if they're not,
Yeah.
you can put them in any position you want. If they're not gonna capitalize on the and like there were rounds where not even just like uncharacteristic whiffs, just like some decision making errors and like
Mhm.
I don't think the problem was being put into a position to succeed. I think it was once you were in these really crucial moments, you're just faltering. And it
Yeah.
happened a lot. It was consistent. So I don't know. It's a tough look. I think my kind of point was like, I think at the level Major was individually playing, as well as the situations he was putting his team in, that EF game should go way different. Like
I mean, the
Major,
lights were a
if I
little
was
bright.
looking at who, say again,
The lights were a little too bright. That train game, I remember watching it. Zantares was doing a lot of good things to keep his team in the game, and
This yeah.
he wasn't
It
getting any help.
it
one
could
v
have been a
fiving
2-0. It could have been a 2-0.
probably should have been.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it could have been for sure.
Like if that train goes the other way, I mean Eternal Fire won the second map, 13-6. That's when it kind of was
Yeah,
busy and had to turn it off. But yeah, it's brutal.
it is brutal,
They're
and
they're
like
gonna
it's
have to figure out how to get like it's mostly Woxic. I mean, obviously you want Wacadia to be performing well.
you do, but like
Um,
you got to think about. So you have a player as good as Woxic and as impactful as him, and when he falters to that level, the amount of space on the map for his teammates, not named Zantares, because Zantares evidently makes his own space, but like
mhm.
certain lanes close when he's dying early or just not able to get his kills, or the other team's able to do certain aggressions on the T side that normally just don't happen because he's able to, you know, cause some panic and some fear in the other team.
Yeah,
And when he's
apply
just
pressure.
not showing up, it makes it difficult for someone like Katie to get going.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, a lot of the plays they run through Woxic just can't be called, or they're called and they're not working. They're not getting the opening. So it's
yeah.
tough.
We'll
I
Yeah.
still
we'll see
got
more
faith
out of
in
them.
them.
Yeah.
Uh,
You have more faith in them?
Yeah, I still got faith
I think they'll
in the
That
figure
is
EF.
it
good.
out. My fear is they're at this point in the season where they only made a one man change and they very obviously like clicked early.
Mhm.
When you stack their roster up to the rest of the top five, which they're currently in, their talent is probably a little bit behind the eight ball, in my opinion, when you get to the depth of it.
Yeah.
I kind of think this early season was their like home run stretch to get a couple wins, get a couple really good placings, which they have, because I don't know if I could see them doing these kind of performances at the major or deeper into the year. I think
I see what you're saying.
this was kind of their stretch to get some wins for some of these players. And like as time goes on, Vitality's gonna get better, FaZe is gonna get better. Even teams
Right.
like Liquid are good. Like I think they might falter into that Liquid range where it's like 6, 7, 8, 9. And then these like I don't know, like do we think Vitality and FaZe and Navi are gonna get worse? Probably not.
Maybe one of them will.
Sure. Is that
But
enough?
yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. I don't think anyone like okay, this is like a tier 1.5 tournament. It's how a
Yeah,
lot of people refer to it because there was no Spirit, there was no Navi, there was no Vitality. So that's why this was a winnable tournament for them. This
100%.
was the winnable tournament for them. Um, Everything going forward, they have prior to the major, they have 4 more tournaments in the lineup. ESL Pro League, they're starting in play-ins, and then Open Lisbon,
Mhm.
IM Melbourne, IM Dallas, all of which have Vitality, all of which have oh, actually, sorry, all of which have Vitality, 2 of which have Spirit, 2 of which have Navi,
So this
all
is
of which have Phase.
kind of a topic shift, but speaking of the tournaments that are like tier 1.5s, how do we
Mhm.
feel about some of these top teams like Spirit ducking out on some very like not prestigious, but like these are legit events, and
Mm.
it was a trend last year, but we're kind of seeing more teams hop on it this year. Obviously, with VRS, it's different, but are you guys at all worried about the state that's gonna, or I guess not the state it's gonna leave the game in, but like we're really not gonna know teams' forms coming into the major.
Wouldn't say
Uh,
that. I think
I think we'll still know
the
their forms, to be
yeah, the
honest.
schedule is pretty crowded, if anything. Like, I think if your Spirit or Vitality or Navi was like just barely in the loop for this, like you had enough of a lead in VRS points that taking a break here so that you can catch your breath, reorganize your structure, and hit Pro League with the ground running is definitely really important. Now, when a team like Liquid does that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we actually analyze the change in VRS
Hmm.
positioning, but it gets a little sketchier.
Right.
But like coming into this or coming into Cato, Spirit was talking about how they were already like tired, how they didn't really get a good break after the major. So I think if you're that roster, it's just like, yeah, you know what? If everyone else wants to spend a bunch of time traveling all the way to Cluj-Napoca, competing in Romania, well, we get to like sit at our land center or in our homes and just kind of de-stress. I think
Who
that's a
the
huge benefit,
fuck on Spirit is tired? They're like 17 years old.
dude.
Like, no, think about no. Who the
Like
fuck is
Chopper's the only old guy who's allowed to use that
like,
excuse,
hey,
but
if you
Nah,
no, but if
seriously.
that's your excuse, you're
That's a
tired, you're
bad
burnt
excuse
out,
right now.
but you're playing 15 pugs a day if you're donk or if you're magics. Like, what are you burnt out of? The
I
travel?
just can't see dunks in. Yeah,
it
nah.
wasn't Donk. I believe it was Zontix and Hallie who said it in an interview.
I
So
understand skipping like the smaller
Why? Me
events
too, but
every now and then. Like obviously,
no,
it's
I think
a
if your Spirit or
everyone needs
Vitality,
a
skipping
mental
this event
reset.
was smart.
sure, but
Yeah,
this isn't the
skipping
only
these
event they're
as like a
skipping. You
one-off,
went back and you
I
read
don't
that
think
list.
it's
You're like
that
the
big of a
next
deal.
three events, and then you have to
But
backpedal because two of those teams aren't going to be at one of the next events. That's big.
Well, it's IEM Dallas. It's the one right before the major, and teams are going to be boot camping instead. I think that's another very valid tournament to
So is that a flaw
pass on.
in the organization of the season, or is that like
No, I
really
don't think
like
so.
I don't know, like if I'm hosting IEM Dallas,
Hmm.
I feel some type of way about the unanimous number one best player in the world not coming to my
Hmm.
event
Right, and
because
they
that
have a
drives.
system that will punish Spirit for missing ESL event.
I
So like
think they might
all these
need to look at
calendars
they
have
might
like
need to make these punishments more strict. I think like dude,
well, they're
if
not punishments, they're just like you don't get access to money as the organization. But you have to understand, like, so we're coming out of partnered leagues, right? So
right.
last year, like, teams weren't skipping events because they were legally obligated to be there, or contractually obligated to be there. Better term. Um, Spirit was only a partner for Blast. They were never an ESL partner. They always qualified off of rankings, or like closed qualifiers or regional qualifiers for their events. Whereas now this year we still have the Blast calendar with 3 tournaments a year or a season. We have the ESL calendar, which is still 3 to 4 events a season. Um, and then now we also have PGL who's hosting events, and apparently Starlighter is going to be like hosting some events. I think starting next year. Like we're going to have this very crowded schedule, and orgs like tournament organizers are going to have to try to figure out a way to entice teams to come over. PGL just says we'll just make crazy large
Prize pools.
prize pools. ESL has this system where like clubs get a prize pool for like there's a club share prize
Essentially
pool. I
for
don't know
like
how else
fielding a
to explain
roster.
it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
like the
like
club gets it, and then Blast has this whole token system and appearance fee system, which doesn't go to VRS, which is really weird. And they all have exceptions. Like ESL, you're allowed to miss one event every 2 years, or it's like two event every 3 years, something like that. So like there's different exceptions to the rules. Different teams are going to kind of like this whole year is just going to be about teams figuring out what works best for them from both like a profit margin perspective and a winning perspective. Tournament organizers are going to kind of figure out what's the most enticing to these teams and what they can best offer teams, and players are just going to play.
That's valid.
So
I get it. It's just
like
it sucks coming from like a you think about like an IEM Dallas and that should be a staple event in my opinion, or at least
it never really has been. It's always been the like event that's at the end of the season. The major had already happened, and it's almost borderline Mickey Mouse. I mean, fucking what, G2 won it with Stewie 2K as a sub.
Really?
Like a bunch of teams were checked out in that
yeah.
tournament. A bunch of teams didn't show up to that tournament.
I don't know.
That's
If
always
you
kind of
listen
been
to
the
the
case for
Vitality
We don't get a
Dallas.
Roundtable,
lot
they
of
were
events
fucking
win
checked
it.
out because of Stewie 2K. Like I don't know. I think the problem maybe my problem, and I don't want to touch on this for too much longer, but maybe it's like
Mhm.
there's so much focus on organizers like PGL and like Blast instead of not realizing how you're handicapping certain regions, I guess. Like to someone like obviously there's the Austin Major, right? Which is
Mhm.
okay, that's great. But if there wasn't, I am Dallas would be probably us three's best chance of going to a tier one prestigious whatever LAN event
As it
just
stands
because
right
of
now, yeah.
location and scheduling and things like that. So for someone in NA, maybe it's just NA bias. It's like, dude, why would I pay all that money to fly to Dallas, get my tickets, get a hotel, and
Just for
the
Donk
two
not to
best
be there,
teams
just for
with the best
yeah.
player in the world not even playing? It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, no, and I that kind of comes to the balance of the tournament organizer of like making sure they can balance the amount of money they're able to generate through running these tournaments with how many teams they can pull over. Like
Yeah,
it's just going to be about striking that balance,
that's
I'm getting
valid.
right?
shades of load management in the NBA.
That's what
But
it
let's
feels
be
I
like,
think
real.
dude.
we're going to see that. So sorry, just
The
to bring this like back. Sorry, actually, go spin.
the bad guys here, the bad outcomes are only when the orgs are preventing their teams from going to the event.
So
If the
liquid.
teams want to go and the orgs are saying no, that is bad. That's my hot take. That is bad.
I don't think it's too much of a hot take, but I agree. Like
The only reason it's a hot take to me is because I think it's bad either way. I think as a player, you have a responsibility to the people watching the game and the people essentially making sure you have a living, right? Because at the end of the day, it is all about the people watching.
right, but it's about winning, and sometimes you have to, I mean, to bring it back to kind of like load management in the NBA, it's like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you might have to take a tournament off so that for the major or for Cologne, you're your best self and you have the most
No, this is
like
pure greed, bro. This is orgs saying we're not
no, no,
getting
no, no,
enough
no.
money.
I agree from the org perspective. I'm talking about like from a player perspective to kind of combat what Jay was saying. Where like I think it's valid if you're a bunch of players and you're like, hey, we're not going to go to Dallas because we want to put all of our resources into the major.
So I
And I
would
don't think that's too uncommon because last year or just at the end of last year, right before Shanghai, there was the Blast World Finals. And like no one was trying for that tournament despite
definition of
the
Mickey
huge
Mouse.
prize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like despite the prize pool, despite this the like it's like Blast's version of Cologne or whatever that they hosted in Shanghai. It's like no team actually cared because their eyes were on Shanghai. Their eyes were on the
Yeah.
major. And that's just poor scheduling from Valve to not explain when the majors are and when the qualifiers for the majors are to these organizers while demanding
That's
these
true.
organizers give them a schedule like a year and a half advanced. So like it's kind of unfair to ESL, not gonna lie,
No,
but
that is true. I think my one pushback there would be it's fine if you like sure, do it for an event. Don't do it for 3. You know? Don't
yeah,
there's like Spirit is probably the biggest culprit of this is like they missed a lot of events last year. They didn't miss one. And they're missing there's already 3 I think, including Cluj, so one in at tier
no.
1.5, but they're
So
not on
they
the
didn't go to
docket for
Cluj
2
and they're not
more.
on Dallas.
I think there's one more if I'm not mistaken. I thought they
Mm,
didn't commit to one more. I don't want to
I
open
have
TV right now.
them.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but
They may have not decided to go to Pro League. Let me see. No, they're in Pro League.
No,
Yeah,
they're
no,
in Pro
they're
League.
okay.
yeah.
So 2 in the
It's
first
only
6 months of
Dallas.
the game. Are we fine with that?
I mean,
It's not ideal.
compared to last season, that's more tournaments Spirit has played. Because
That's
last year
not
they weren't
good.
an ESL partner and they skipped on Chengdu and they skipped on Did they skip on Dallas? Yeah, they skipped on
I think they
Dallas.
did
They
skip
skipped
on
on like
Dallas, yeah.
3 or maybe 4 tournaments.
So,
Not
okay,
not just skip, sometimes they also didn't qualify in
let's
time
shift
because
off
it was
this a
their
little
first, like,
bit, but
tier 1.
I kind of want to touch on the liquid side of things because Spenny, you mentioned how the problem is when orgs don't, I guess they restrict their
Allow
teams from
players.
going, but Liquid needed to go to Cluj and they needed to place well. Like we're gonna get into the VRS side of things in the rankings.
Like they didn't
They fell
need
like,
to.
I wouldn't say need.
well, they fell 6 spots, right? And you look at the way that
Yeah.
sure, like Monday morning quarterbacking, but they could have placed really well here. They could have really solidified their case for a strong position in the major, or at least really took a leap. And they jumped back 6 spots. Don't think that was a player decision.
The issue isn't
I
even the
mean,
6
they
spots.
would have had to win a playoff series to even go up in the rank,
Yeah.
If you
probably.
look at the playoff
So
bracket, that wasn't out of the realm of possible, especially the way everything shook up. That was very doable. They could have won more than one playoff.
I
Sure, it
mean,
was doable, but
I would say the way it shook up made it like any team could have beat them, to be honest.
yeah. Except
Sure,
maybe
but
Saw. Like, if they were play Saw, they'd play, like, what, FaZe in the first round? It's like, I don't know. I think what's worth noting for Liquid is that it seems like their plan is to qualify through the America slots, which means it doesn't actually matter what their global ranking is, it matters what
They
their
need to be
regional
top
ranking
5 though.
is. They need to be top 5. That's pretty safe, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
There's a pretty large gap for the top 5, but
yeah, I wonder where that
it's
cutoff
it's
would
more
be.
it's more about Pain. Pain is now first in the Americas. They're now going straight to stage 3.
Yeah.
And they're
That's the
probably
big difference
staying
from
there.
not going to this event.
So when's the
I
cutoff
wouldn't
for
say that.
that?
April 7th. So
Okay.
in between that time, we
Then you get
have
EPL Blast
EPL in Lisbon.
Lisbon, and Bucharest starts on the 5th.
Yes.
So Bucharest won't count.
It won't count.
Nope. Because the new VRS change is that they only
The
award
event
points
has
as
to
the event
conclude, right?
ends. Yeah.
Maybe it's like a weird panic thing because you watch Pain, but you almost like see these two teams flip flop, and it's like I don't know if you are a Liquid fan or if you're Liquid, you should probably in the back of your head feel like you're the number one team in the Americas, and you maybe you still are, but it's just like it doesn't look good, and I think it puts unnecessary stress and pressure on the players because all they have to do was show
I
up and
don't think it
perform.
matters, bro.
You don't
Being
think it
best in
matters?
NA at this point means fucking nothing.
It's not about being best in an 8. It's about qualifying to the furthest round in the major possible.
Yeah, that
Getting
would
that
do
little bit
them
of a head
good.
start. Yeah.
For sure, it would do them good. But like
Dude, it's like
in
you
the
have a
grand scheme
C.
of things, if they're not able to compete against good teams, it doesn't fucking matter.
Dude, if
Like
you have a C plus all semester and your professor hands out bonus marks and you just say fuck the bonus marks, you're an idiot. Like
Okay,
take the
yeah,
bonus
but
marks.
I agree take the bonus marks, but they play Lisbon. Payne doesn't. And then Payne still has to make it through the play-ins to get to the main stage for EPL, whereas Liquid is already main stage for EPL. So like
no, I agree they should have played Cluj.
they should have played Cluj, but the one caveat I would give for that is this team clearly needed to figure itself out a little bit more. And I think whether or not they should have gone to Cluj is going to come down to how they look at EPL. If they look like, wow, these guys have new creative ideas, they've kind of meshed roles a little bit more, they found a flow, their map pool looks more than just Anubis. Like they look like they actually have like a core 3 maps they can reliably play against other
In Ancient.
teams. And Ancient, right? Like my point is, if they look like, wow, Liquid took a step, then I'm going to say, good job not going to Cluj. You were able
Fair.
to prioritize your
If they did
time
not
and you
take a
were
step,
effective in doing so.
if they did
If
not
they
take a
don't,
step,
huge blunder. Huge
like
blunder.
just an
Yeah.
absolute troll.
But if
No,
they didn't take a
there's
step, what does
no
it matter at
excuse
that
for
point?
that. But that's what I'm saying. It's a
Yeah,
what
that's
have you
true.
done for me lately league.
Mhm.
And they haven't done anything for anybody lately, before lately, before lately. Like, so I mean, listen, they show up to pro league and they look like a really good team. If they look like even a, I don't know, they're not going to look like a top 5 team, but they look like they can contend with teams like EF and teams like even Falcons right now.
Mhm.
because I think I want to get into Falcons and how they performed at Cluj,
Yeah, we
but
got to get back on track with Cluj.
yeah, we kind of went on a tangent here. It's just like, dude, I don't understand teams not taking the easy way out, but just like not maximizing the strength of schedule. And like when you have events where these teams aren't showing up and there's no Navi and there's no Spirit, you need to be confident enough to think, okay, we can do some damage here. Anyways,
Hmm.
let's pivot back. Where do we want to get into with Cluj here? Do you guys want to talk about the Falcons? I kind of want to save Mouse for last just because we look like idiots and Shuhei was the problem. But
Maybe before we go to the final, we can talk about Astralis quickly, the team that
yeah, yeah.
finished third. We had this conversation between the three of us just before playoffs where
Fuck.
Astralis got manhandled by Heroic in the Blast Libsyn closed qualifier final.
Yeah.
And it was looking grim. But something that I was bringing up is, you're currently in the midst of preparing for playoffs for a tournament that has a large prize pool. These prize pool can give you very valuable VRS points. Their focus isn't on Lisbon. Like it's going to be on making an impact
This major
in
cycle
the
and
current
yeah.
tournament. Yeah, and
It was
I
Dallas qualifier, no?
sorry, Dallas
Dallas, not
qualifier.
Lisbon.
You're right. It was Dallas because they're going to Lisbon.
Yeah.
And me and Spenny kind of talked about the idea, at least with Jay, that like they're probably not showing anything. They're probably like straight plugging the series with the idea of like, hey, let's rely on our gun skill. Maybe we'll call one or two things that we just want to like test a timing on, but like show nothing, prep continuously for Mongols because the prize pool is what matters for VRS, and Cluj is a huge prize pool. And if you're Astralis, this is your moment. You made it to stage. Sure, you have Stown, who's maybe not the most stage friendly player, but Cadian's a stage friendly player. Device is a stage friendly player. I think Stare is. That dude shows up no matter what.
I
I'm
agree.
absolutely in love with his game right now. Yabby, at least in this run, proved that he can be that guy. Stown still missing. That's going to be a problem that they'll eventually have to address. But they put their resources in Mongols. It clearly paid off. And obviously it sucks to lose to Maus. And I felt like they could have beat Maus. Maybe I'm tripping. It was pretty. Oh, that's right. They choked the 12-4 lead on
Yeah.
Inferno.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could have
First
been
match.
this could have easily been Astralis in the final. Wow, Maus limped their way to the final. That's right.
They
Even
clawed
Pain
their
was a
way
close
back.
series. Yeah. Um
Yeah, we definitely didn't see eye to eye on
oh.
this. That one hurts, huh? Yeah, we got into a pretty heated discussion that spanned a couple days where I mean, maybe in hindsight you could say I was incorrect. I still think my fundamental logic makes sense where we're in a system where VRS points are so important, and I understand prioritizing this cycle over the next, but when you're a team like Astralis, I don't think you can afford to take series off. Now, it worked, so happy for them. But man,
They
when
afforded it.
like if they bowed out to the Mongols after that, we would have been having a whole other conversation, obviously. So
Oh yeah, it would have been brutal.
I don't know,
Completely.
I don't like this concept, and I understand why certain teams do it. I just don't think certain teams have, I guess, earned the privilege to take series off or to not show certain things or to maybe not take certain series as serious. But
Hmm.
I don't know, like, do I like the fact that Astralis got fucking mollywopped in an online qualifier? No. Do I
You weren't
think
gonna
I
watch
could?
that shit either way, my boy.
No, no, not at all. But to me, I don't know. I think in anything I do as an individual, I think momentum and like morale is very important.
Yep.
So if let's say our team, we're going into a game on a Thursday, and we're like,
Hmm.
hey, let's go play a Wednesday night cash cup, and we just
Yep.
get first rounded by an open team. We're like Thursday might be chalked, fellas. Like I don't know. Like
I think referring to Heroic as an open team comparatively strength wise is
right.
not fair.
But
Like
but
that Heroic
the
team's a strong team.
if we get 13-11 by an open team, it's as bad as getting
It's not.
7
That's
rounds
not
and
the
2
fair
maps.
analogy, bro. It's like
You
saying
We
we're
went
fair.
up
getting like
against another main team and
13-5
they
by like a main
13
team.
fired
Yeah,
us. Like we got smoked by a main team. It's like, whoa.
Dude,
that
but
was
it
bad.
happened twice.
Sure.
I think Device had 9 kills in 2 maps.
I think he did. I think
Yeah,
at one
bro.
point on Nuke, I
He
think I saw
picked
someone
up and
state
shit.
like,
He was
yeah,
snoozing.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I mean, clearly it
Even
worked
if you're
out. So
9-10, dude.
it worked out. So good for them. I actually liked Astralis' game, all things considered. I thought we seen some flashes of Device, which is exciting.
hmm
The thing that scares me about him is how bought in do you think they are to this Cadian system?
I think they're actually very bought in.
I think they're
Yeah.
the most bought in they ever been, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Like the thing that I notice in their games is like their gun skill in more recent
Mhm.
tournaments has just not been there and around the calling. And Cadian's calling is very like when I say something, everyone put your shit down and do it full fledged. Agree with me. He'll give you space at certain points in the round to kind of work openings and timings. But once he has an idea or a read or a concept, it is you are gung ho on this idea no matter
Yeah.
what. And what I saw in was it Cato or was it yeah, it was Cato. Where they were bought in. They were like gung ho on Cadian and they were just whiffing shots one and two Cadian's reads were not it. This tournament Cadian seemed to be a little more on his game.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a better understanding of how to react to certain things that Cadian's saying from a call perspective. Boys were just hitting shots, which is
That's the big one.
huge.
That's the big one. Yeah.
Yavi playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
And when that's all going well, the team looks like it has potential. I don't think they're a tournament winning potential. But they look like they're that like, wow, this team would be amazing. They just need like that
feisty.
star power. And that's where you look at Stown and you say, wake up. What are you doing? Please, anything.
Yeah.
Um,
So safe to say Twist was wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool. It almost surprised me to see how fast I think Cadian was able to not I don't want to say turn a team around, but he clearly has confidence in his abilities to do what he does and to call games at the highest level. And I think it was really cool to
mhm,
see the switch flip where he went from a team that nobody believed in him and he just like listen, I understand he's probably not the easiest person to work with. I think it's very apparent if you know like if you follow the scene at all.
mhm.
In terms of his mannerisms, his probably the way
Yeah.
he communicates with other players, whatever. But it's cool to see how fast he was able to join a new team in the most fucked up, weird circumstances of all time, where he's joining a team that didn't want him 6 months prior,
He's
and
joining the duo that's
that
pulling the knife
backstabbed
out of
him.
his back as we speak.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
and not
crazy
only
come
get
up.
them to rebuy back in, but like actually demonstrate like really efficient high level Counter Strike in such like it
Yeah.
was just it was fun to watch, and I still don't like watching him use a rifle, but like I'll take the bullet if it means we have somewhat of not peak device, but a device that looks comfortable and competent and like he's flashes and glimpses of old. So it's really cool to see.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
All
don't
right.
think
Let
I'm as high on this team as you guys are, to be honest.
Well, I
I
don't think
mean,
anyone's high on them in the terms of they're gonna win a tournament, but I think it's just, dude, we watched them not do it. Like the meme, it's like do something. They did something. I'm
yeah,
happy.
poke a stick, do so.
That is
I don't
Liquid,
true.
your
know.
turn.
I look at this Astralis team and I say, like, okay, the actual expectations that should be coming for this team is they should be like tournament contenders. That's not what I read. I am like, yeah, this team can comfortably sit inside the top 10.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my read. And I mean like the 8 through 10 slot. I'm not talking about like consistently top 5.
right.
So that's my read on the team. That's what I think we're going to get for the rest of them if they live up to their potential um, for the season.
Before we touch on Falcons and Mouse, and then kind of shift to kind of concluding thoughts and the next couple segments, really quickly, Phase. We see another tournament with Phase. Last time we spoke, we kind of said it's early, not worried about them. It's gonna take time for them to gel with the Liege and kind of see how
Mhm.
their CT side develops and things of that nature. I still kind of hold the same sentiment. I just want to get a kind of like a pulse check from you guys. You guys in the same boat? Not worried?
Yeah, it was an off series. That Falcons series for sure. Um, I don't know if that's fair to say for Falcons because they played pretty well, but we saw FaZe in the group stage go 3-0.
Mhm.
They beat Mouse pretty handily in a 2-0, and then they also beat EF. So they
Yeah.
didn't they didn't just
No, they had a
walk
Oh,
their way
difficult
in
job.
there.
did yeah.
They played good teams, and they looked really solid in
Mhm.
those series in particular.
Mhm.
And then in the quarterfinal against Saw again, we knew kind of what was going to happen that series, and then I thought they were in position to win the whole tournament. To be honest, they were my
Yeah.
pick after seeing the playoff draw, and they just seemed off against Falcons.
I
Man, I
also
don't know.
think like sometimes you just run into a player who's like not gonna lose that day, and I think like obviously the way the tournament shakes out, Niko was very much so back to his own ways, and like sometimes you just don't have an answer to someone like that. So,
I think on the
like
Dust 2, he was really good, and he had the most say in winning that game. But the Ancient, like, it was just bad. It was just bad from FaZe, like all
Yeah,
around.
I agree.
I agree, but like I don't know, it's weird. You watch the way FaZe structures some of their rounds on CT in particular, and it's like it doesn't look like they're playing a step behind, but it's just like I don't know. They felt a little. I don't know what the word is, but like maybe slow on either some of their rotations or some of their adaptations. Am I off base
Kind.
here?
I don't
Like
know. I feel like the style that Kerrigan calls on T side, and like, okay, I know Alicia's calling for a couple maps in CT, but
I still don't know how much I
for
buy into that.
I don't see why they would say that if it was like partly true. Um, I the thing with Phase and how they always worked and how they kind of made magic out of nothing, um, was they were always like one. Like when I would watch a Phase round, it was always a domino effect. It was player A gets first kill and then kill, 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 kill.
Mhm.
Or player A dies and it goes die, 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 die. And then there's obviously the rounds where it's just like they just trade like 2 for 2 or they'll try an entry or like do like a mid-round site hit and 3 of them will die. They'll trade only one on the site guy, and it's just like, oh, Brokey and Kerrigan are live. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
probably clutch up and win that because they always manage to somehow do that. But a lot of the rounds came down to like these very precise, like if player A is successful, player B will have his window to be
Mhm.
successful. And that takes a lot of like trust and complete faith and understanding in where everyone is, what they're doing, and what your responsibility is as a player. And you, like when Frozen first came in, it wasn't as much as a transition because he has a history with Robson Kerrigan. He's played that style before under Mouse with Kerrigan. Elige is like fish out of water. It's like when Twist first came, or actually when Twist first came in, there was no Kerrigan. But um yeah, it's going to take some time.
Yeah,
Like like the sentiment that you expressed at the start. Like yeah, it's
I
not
think
weird.
for Elige too, it's probably like it's you can't even just look at the roster construction for him. It's like uprooting your life, leaving your family, probably leaving your girlfriend, leaving your
Hmm.
life to go to a different part of the world. Like it's just it's yeah, it's gonna take some time. So I'm not worried about them, man. Like literally at all. In fact, I think if there's a team that I took away from this being worried about, it was probably EF just due to the stage issues.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, before we get into Mouse, I think a little bit of a surprising run from Falcons for you guys, or
Yeah.
yeah, do you see it
Yeah.
continuing?
Yes, actually.
Uh,
Funny enough, yes.
Okay,
like I think they're finally into that like bottom half of the top 10. They're
yeah,
firmly they're firmly like a top 12-ish team at their
okay,
floor, I think, which before I think their floor was way lower. Their floor would be like bottoming out of tournaments, and now they're like
Hmm.
I'd be surprised if they lost to these lower teams in the
mhm,
back half of the tier 1. So, I think they definitely moved me a little bit. Uh,
Hmm.
but I don't think I'm pushing any Falcons agendas that they're gonna
No.
I don't
keep
know if
up
I'm pushing
this
agendas,
final
but
form.
like, okay, who surprised you guys the most? Who did you look at? And, like, to me, the most underwhelming, and it's not really fair because I don't think he played bad, but I feel like there's still another level we can get Magisk to. I think there's
Yeah,
still another gear he can hit. I do,
he's
I
been the most disappointing for me.
but I think he has the most adaptation going into this, where it's like, okay, Nico's never played with these guys, but it's Niko. They're building around him. They're putting him into any spot he wants. Magisk is just kind of picking up the scraps. Doesn't know the core. Sure, he's
Yeah,
playing
but
some of his CT spots, and
he's been an anchor position player
right.
for
yeah,
But I
a
think
long
his
time
anchoring is,
now,
mentality.
but I
and
think
he's
anchoring is
just
very different on different
it's
rosters
not
and
that
different.
different,
It
bro.
is. It is. Of course, it is.
Are you watching these games? He is not
I
there. He's not doing anything in his power to stop these bomb sites, bro.
no,
He's
I
getting run
get it.
over.
He's getting run over. I get
It's
it.
not
But
like the system needs to be built around him for him to get value in those situations.
I don't think you
He's
can
not
just
his usual
say
self.
you're an anchor. We're putting you in anchor positions. You go do your thing. I think there's a lot of support elements that go into it. There's a lot of rotation elements that go into it. There's a lot of timing windows that you have to be aware of. And if you're playing with a new core, especially I don't think it's such a drastic thing to say that it's gonna take time for him to get comfortable, even though it's the same positions. It's the different roles in these positions.
Yeah, obviously,
S-
but he's hard anchoring positions. He's always hard anchored. Maybe he switched up on like one or two maps, but I'm pretty sure Mirashi's always played
he's
A.
mostly playing the same spots. Yeah.
Yeah, Mirashi's always played A, and Mirashi was getting run over on us on Ancient. I think he plays A as well. Maybe I'm misremembering. And on Ancient he was like invisible, bro. Like just it's as we've seen this team so far, he's been the most disappointing by far, I
I
think.
agree. And don't get me wrong, like that's why I brought it up because he has been the most disappointing. But to me, if you were to like do a recap of the first couple months of all the new rosters, and you gave me like one red flag from each team, and Falcons was that Magic doesn't look good, I'd be like, okay, they're probably doing decent. Like if that core was able to kind of insulate in and Nico is able to be Nico in that system, then they're probably in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I can get down with that.
So for me, this tournament was a bit eye opening for Falcons, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, so first things is well, at least to add on to the Magist conversation. I agree he's definitely looked the worst out of the group so far, but I think he's looked better every tournament I've seen him play this year. Because he was god awful at Bounty. He was not great, but better at Cato. And he was serviceable at Cluj. And for a guy like Magisk, serviceable is not the expectation. It's not the potential.
It's not gonna
I
win
think
you
he's going to
tournaments.
get better. Um, I think Testis is showing consistently that he's in great form and that he's potentially one of the best of that heroic core.
Mm-hmm.
Original like heroic core was Stown and Yabi. Um, I think Kixen is doing like a fantastic job calling.
I
I
agree.
think the rounds are really starting to come together. I think obviously having a second and very experienced voice like Niko makes your life as an IGL a lot easier. It could also be harder at
I was gonna
times, I'm
say, do you
sure,
think it
but
makes it easier if you're someone like
I think
Hickson?
if you're someone like Hickson who's very new and there's a lot of like stuff that you haven't experienced yet, and you have a guy who's really good at getting
Yeah.
information and positioning on maps, saying like, "Hey, if I do this and do this, and you guys do this, we'll get this." And you listen to that and you see that happen, you put that in the memory log, and all of a sudden you start adding that to your bag,
Yeah.
right? You start getting that understanding, you start building out that foundation more. Um, and then the real reason that this team was able to make the finals, Dexter showed up and he wasn't abused. I feel like good teams tend to really abuse Dexter. He overpeaks a lot, but he wasn't overpeaking, to be fair. At least from the games I saw, he wasn't
He
like
had
he was
moments. He had
aggressive.
moments
Of
where
course,
it was
okay,
like,
it's
whoa,
Dexter.
whoa,
It's Dexter.
whoa.
Let's take a second though. But what this really opened my eyes is, wow, minus Dexter plus Mondesi, this team could actually be a tournament winning team, like a legitimate one.
I
I
think
think I can see that ceiling now. where
It's
it's like if
funny, yeah,
Testis holds
like
form, just continues to take a step, kicks in. He's a young player. You're expecting him to get better, especially in an environment with Zontix or not Zontix, Zonic and Niko to
mhm.
give him information and to give him experience that he doesn't have. And then again, if you were to add someone as good as Mondesi, I mean, I'm talking about like, yeah, they might be able to win tournaments if you had the second best player or like the best opera in the game. So like, I don't think I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's kind
something
of
like
that's
too
kind of a
crazy.
crazy takeaway, bro. Because
It,
I thought
it,
this
it
was
is.
Dexter's best tournament by far. Like
It
this was
is.
So I
the
think the
best he's
point
looked
he's
Dude,
by
dude, dude,
making
it
though is
is,
far.
we've
but I don't
seen,
think Dexter's consistent enough to be
yeah,
this every tournament.
I think kind of the point you took away is like, wow, when Dexter played really good, this team could win tournaments. If they added a player who was what Dexter was doing, but he can do that consistently, they can
And even
consistently
better
compete for tournaments.
sometimes.
To
Yeah.
me, if
And
Dex, so
yeah,
like I think if you are going to make a change, it's Dexter because you would assume it's for someone at the level of Mondesi if that's gonna happen. But
Hmm.
realistically, let's say you get Dexter playing at a little bit below the level he played at this tournament, and you have a little bit of a regression from Testis, which is like expected. I don't think you expect him to play this good. But you get
I
Magisk.
think I do, to be
Do
honest.
you?
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
Well
always
then
kind of just been this good. I'm gonna be like he's not
well
like
then
performing
they're well
exceptionally
then
well compared
they're
to
a hard anchor and
previously.
they're anchor away from being really, really good. And you think Magisk is gonna get there?
Yeah.
Why can't they win tournaments? You know? Like what was this heroic team missing to put them over the edge? A star anchor and a star
Talent.
rifle? Like
They're like tier like 1.5, not tier 1.5, like tier
the old
1
roster or the new
literal.
roster?
Like all of them are just like they're not none of them are 1A players on your team.
None of
Right.
them are
Like
first
they're all
options.
yeah, they're all number 2s and number
Yep.
And I
3s.
think
And
Nert's
Nertz
fantastic.
was their first option, right?
Yeah,
I
but Nurse is
think
like a
we
1B
we had this
at best.
discussion
Oh, I wouldn't
between
say that.
we had this
Yeah,
discussion
I would
between the
say
three of
that.
us. The jump, as good as Nertz
What
is,
do you think? He's a number 1?
that he's not.
I
He's
think
not.
Nertz can be a number one on a team.
He's a 1B,
I
bro.
don't think I think Nertz can be a number one on a
A
team. I
1B.
don't think he can be
Okay.
a number one on a team that wins championships.
He can be a number 1 on a team that has someone equally as good as him.
Sure.
Actually, probably even not. I don't think he
No,
can do
that would
that.
be like listen,
I
dude.
okay. I think like I'm kind of getting
When
what
you
you're
look at
saying.
when you look at the teams that win these tournaments, they all either have a Donk, a Mondesi, a Niko, or they have a JL slash
Zybu,
bit, a Zaibu. Like he's not there, and I think there's a pretty sizable gap between those players and a player like Nertz, who's probably in the next kind of category of
I don't
players.
think there's that big of a gap between jail and Nerds. Bit, I'll give you
hey,
that though.
JL is yeah,
No,
it's fine.
but the thing that
JL
Navi
whatever.
has is they have two of them. So
Yeah,
And
it's
me,
that
Ema
one
and
B
Wonderful.
to
conversation.
me,
I
Navi's
get what you're
closer to
saying.
having two Nerds than like you know what I mean? It's like JL's
Yeah,
Nerds
and
and
sorry. Yeah,
Bit's Nerds on crack.
this just comes from a just a misunderstanding. In my head, whenever I'm talking about like first options, like it's opter exclusive. Like you're talking about your riflers as like a 1, 2, 3. Like you have your rifling core, you have an
Okay, yes.
IGL, and you have an opper. So to
No,
me, it's like your
I
first option in your rifling core. That could be Nerds. That's valid.
sure, as long
But
as
like I get
somebody
what you're
as
saying.
good
Like
as him
he
is
can't be the best player on your team. If Nerds is going to be your one option as a rifler, you're hoping that you probably have like a not a Monacy for sure, but like a Shiro Monacy, like a
sure.
opper
So
who's going to do
if
his
you have an
thing.
Like
opera
if you
like
have a
Shiro,
Santares, then you don't need a fucking Shiro.
No,
Because you
clearly
got a
you fucking do. You'll
Santares.
just burn out in group or in first round of playoffs.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I'll
we'll
tell you
see.
what, to me, Zontarz is closer to those players than someone
Oh
like
no, no,
Nerds. You know
Zontar.
what I mean?
Yeah, don't
Like,
get me wrong. Zontaris is. I mean, we did our power rankings last episode. I think we all understand how well we or how high
yeah.
we rate him.
Oh, all right. So let's talk about how we're all idiots for thinking benching Shuhei was a mistake. Go ahead, someone take the floor.
Nah.
Shui was the problem,
No, we're
and
not doing that.
specifically the problem that Shui presented this team
He was not
was
Sphinx.
he didn't want to go to Cluj, and they clearly like look. He didn't show up at Cluj, right? So clearly that was the problem.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the
And
problem was
then
that he didn't have Sphinx. I think that was the problem.
Yeah.
I think that was
nah.
the only. I still think like this was still the wrong roster decision. It worked
We'll see.
great.
Pending. pending.
No, it's not pending. It's not pending. Sometimes you have to look at paper and just accept facts for
No,
facts.
you gotta accept facts. If they win another tournament, then objectively it'll be the right move because
How many
they won
tournaments did they
two
win last year?
tournaments. They won none.
2.
They won
They won
two.
2. Yeah.
They won Pro League and they won
Oh yeah, they won Pro League.
um
Fact.
fuck, what was the other one they won? They won 2. I can pull it up. Give me a sec.
I
They
think
won
they
two,
did win
but
2.
they
I don't
were
recall the second one.
consistently
But I
underperforming
think at
In playoffs,
best
yeah.
as well.
at best this was a marginal upgrade. I think this had potential to be a really really big upgrade. I think
No,
if you
don't get
took
me wrong.
like
I still
we
think in the
agree on this.
long
I know
term,
that.
Sorry. One of them was a bet boom, but they did beat Spirit. So
that's why I say TBD
1.5.
because I'm still a believer that in the long term, when people start actually figuring out and realizing what Mouse is doing, they're gonna catch on, and it's gonna be
Mhm.
a lot harder for Bolin to call. So I
Yep.
think they'll fall off definitely in the long term. But if they don't, and in like 3-4 months they're still going to finals
Yeah,
and winning tournaments, then it's like okay, gotta eat your words
I
at
agree.
that point.
Okay, but they won a 1.5. They didn't win like a tier 1 tournament.
I
I
also
mean, it's
think
still
two things.
impressive.
I think two
No,
things
no,
can
it's
be
still
true.
impressive, but like I wouldn't
No
compare
one
that
was
like
thinking that they're gonna win
Totally
this
fair.
tournament, and they
But
won in pretty convincing fashion.
two things can be true, and I think two things were true in the situation where their roster got better, but they still made the wrong move because their roster could have got a lot better. Like that's all it
Yeah,
comes down to. Is they had a young IGL who everybody rates very highly, and
mhm.
all they had to do was replace their struggling piece with this star, and then it just works. It makes sense. And then you compete for titles at the tier 1 level, which I mean this
yeah,
roster
but you don't
probably
know what the
can.
team dynamic is, and
Yeah,
that's really
right.
had a big
Fair,
role
fair,
in the move.
but I don't care. I don't. I don't. It doesn't. It still doesn't make sense. But congratulations, they looked really good. I think their
The
game was
T
very.
sides still stink.
It was too simple. Like obviously it was gonna be simple, but like a lot of it was just like brute forcing and like just winning your fights and winning your like
Yeah,
situationals. That's
not a
not
lot of
gonna
the times.
last, especially against teams like Spirit and Navi and but like I don't know. I mean, I don't think you take away from this that wow, they called a great, they called a great tournament. It's just they have a lot of talent. So,
Yeah, like I don't okay. I don't know. I might good things from this tournament for Maus. They performed on stage. They got something out of their players on
yeah,
stage. This is a team that was constantly losing in semifinals or quarterfinals,
EF land.
right? And if you add phase, or sorry, not phase, Vitality, Spirit, Navi, G2, I mean, it's hard to really gauge exactly where G2 is to this at this point, but if you add those 4 teams to this tournament, a
Mhm.
tournament in which the highest ranked team Maus beat was Falcons because they lost to FaZe, but again,
Mhm.
it's like there wasn't really many like other teams they could have played that were higher. Um, and I'm expecting Vitality to win, Navi to win, and Spirit to win, and all of a sudden you're back in that losing in semis, losing in quarters
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So I don't think this really showed us that much. Maybe I'm mistaken, but
My takeaway from it when you look at this roster is holy fuck. I don't know what went wrong in Vitality's camp, but Spinks is good, bro. Like he is you don't do
I don't,
that.
I don't, I don't think.
Don't get me wrong. I think like it's not like
I think they're
Vitality.
good with the
I'd rather have
roster.
Robs. I'm gonna say it. Like,
No,
I don't even
totally
think
fair.
it's.
As would I,
I
as
don't
would
think we
I. But I
losing sleep
think
over Spinks, but
I don't think Vitality is, but I think there might be some other teams who might be.
Nah, no. I'm starting to see what Jay's like. If you're Apex right now, you're just looking at your reflection in the Kato trophy. Like, damn, I can't believe Spinks won a tournament after we dropped him.
It's not what I'm saying at all. What
I
I'm
know, I
saying
know.
is there's other teams that could have benefited from some firepower. So
Yeah, but money and do you really want to make a roster change that early in the season? Like, a lot can go wrong or a lot can go right.
teams not
Like,
wanting to make a roster change early in the season is going to be the single reason Shuhei goes to G2 and then like they start winning everything. So it is what it is.
think
I
so.
mean, early in the season's already over, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're getting there. That's true.
We're in the prime of the season right now.
Congratulations to Mouse, man. They looked good. That was fun. Do you think anyone got robbed of MVP before we move on, or
Nope.
Niko was the best player
Yes.
by?
I think Niko was by far the most valuable player at this tournament.
Okay, you cringe lords. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
You guys are glazing a donut that doesn't deserve to be glazed.
Ooh,
All right.
okay.
Here we go.
Let me hear it.
Yeah, statistically, he had the best performance at the event. Look at all these
Categories, these meaningless fucking categories that no one ever brings up until now. So yeah, if you want to go off rating, he had a 1.27 for the
Statistics.
event.
Let's bring up ratings. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, this is your argument that he had a higher rating than Zershin, who had a 1.17.
It's more than just rating, but go on.
Okay. So if you're gonna take a guy that loses the event,
Mm-hmm.
then he at least has to go down swinging and have a performance in the finals that says, "Hey, I'm here, and maybe if my team helped me out a little bit more, we could have won this event." That was just not the case for Niko this tournament. He was out of it on Dust 2. Zershin choke slammed the fuck out of Falcons on that map. And on Nuke, it was Niko who was like invisible on the T side of Nuke, put them into a really big hole, which is usually one of his best maps. And that was the reason they couldn't get the T side going. They started 9-3 and they couldn't eventually make the comeback. If we look at other tournaments where players have lost the event and still won the MVP, we're looking at 6 times. Donk had a 1.46 at the event. Very different than a 1.27. Zaiwu had a 1.55. Electronic had a 1.36. And in finals, he went 90 and 70 over 4 maps. Dropped like a 1.4. Went down swinging crazy. Look at Hunter. He had a 1.4. Simple had a 1.32. He's the lowest guy, but he dropped 90 kills in 3 maps in finals. And it was like a 1.55.
Damn.
And lastly, Twist, 1.36 for the event. Had 120 kills in the finals in a best of 5. No teammate on his team even positive, and he's plus 40 in the series. So those performances like that, I understand, and I have no reason to say that guy doesn't deserve the MVP. I'm sure there are circumstances where the winners also deserve the MVP. And in this tournament, it's not like egregious giving Niko the MVP, but in a just world, he would not have it in his trophy case right now, and it would go to Zershin. And by the way, every single performance I mentioned was also against Mouse. 6 times it's happened.
Yeah,
So,
it's
pretty criminal. That you're
so I think
saying.
just to give you some resistance, it's a tournament MVP. It's not just a finals MVP. The finals are important, don't get me wrong. It's the most important match in the tournament, but I think it takes away a lot of the context of the rest of the tournament to just be like, hey, Niko had a rough final, which he did. He basically only showed up for one map. And of course, the one map he shows up on, they win, right? But just to kind of bring some context to everything, the semifinals also matter a lot, and so do the quarterfinals. And Niko was out here backpacking his team against Eternal Fire and against FaZe. Way harder competition, just outright way harder competition than what Mouse had to face. Mouse is out here barely scraping by Pain 2 13-11s, barely scraping by Astralis through a miraculous comeback, which don't get me wrong, good job. Zershin's not on the top of the leaderboard against Astralis. He disappeared on Inferno and Nuke. Like it's just like
Still a
he
1.11 in
didn't
that series.
have. Sure, because he had a great ancient. Everything outside of ancient, not so good.
2
And if you're
maps
only
On
showing
map
up
3.
like
don't
we're
take
talking
away
about one map.
from
right?
grabbing a backpack and just throwing your team in it for the rest of the tournament.
Right.
Like
Now,
that's
and like
It's
to
not
like
a
no,
crazy
no, no, no. Just
backpack. It's a 1.27.
it's
Like
not
it's
just
just
about the 1.27. It's the fact that here, let me pull it up. Is it fuck? I had it somewhere. Leaderboards here. It's the fact that highest rating, sure, we already know that. Highest KD differential, highest damage per round, highest damage differential per round, highest kills per round. What else was he highest in? And all of these leaderboards, highest headshots per round. On these leaderboards, Xerxin is nowhere to be seen.
highest
He is
headshot,
not.
bro.
He is not. I know it's kind of useless. Highest impact rating, 1.44. Niko. Xerxin's there at a 1.32. Like on every stat that is countable
Yes.
in this
So my
tournament,
argument is that
Niko
winning matters.
overperformed. Winning does
Winning
matter, but here,
matters a lot.
yeah, but you
sure,
win as
but
a
we're
team.
talking
Like
about
it's like go look at the rest of his team's performance.
exactly.
Like
And something else to bring up, because they released the
Literally got outplayed
EVPs
in the
were
finals by his teammate.
no, hold on,
so,
hold on. But like what you're doing is you're looking at Nico's teammates, and you're like, hey, Nico's teammates showed up in the finals. That's great. Go look at Xerxin's teammates, and you can
Yeah.
see a very sizable
You
gap
could
in
have
the
made the same
performance.
argument giving the award to Spinks too. He was pretty good.
yeah.
Do you think
in the
so? Wait, do you
So
think
was
Spinks could
Torzy.
have got the MVP?
He could have, but Xerxin had a better argument.
So you think do you think Torzy maybe could have got it?
No.
Okay,
I'd be
so
more willing to give it to Torzy. So a stat that HLTV has come out with that I really like. They're trying to model it around kind of like wins above replacement, like they use in the NHL. And they're calling it round swing now. They changed the name on it, but it takes into account the types of kills you're getting. For here, let me read their little synopsis on it. So round swing is a new metric that has been added for EVP and for stat counting for 2025. It looks at each kill and sees how much it changes a team's chance of winning the round. That includes a team's economic situation, whether the bomb is planted, and how many players are alive on each team, whether it's traded. Everything to do with the kill is taken into account. It ranges from roughly -3 to +3. Anyone above a +3 is having an incredible standout performance. Anyone below a -3 is having an incredibly dog performance. Xerxin's looking at a 0.46. The actual impact of what he is doing is not that high. He's getting a lot of kills that aren't influencing the outcome of the round compared to his
Because your
teammates like
beta
Spinks.
HLTV advanced analytics, bro.
And I'm adding this on top of the argument of Niko outplayed for
I
the
think you
entirety of the
can.
tournament minus the finals. But and this includes like the tournament as a whole. I think it's also worth noting you could let's swap the players. Put Niko on Mouse. Is Mouse winning this
Okay,
tournament?
my
Yes.
God.
Put Xerxin on
Like,
Falcons.
this
Is
is so
Falcons winning the
revisionist,
tournament?
bro, because
No.
I could go through so many
No, this is
fucking
very.
tournaments
So
and be
I
wrong.
have two holes before we move on to this conversation.
I don't think
and
it's
kinda,
egregious, but if
no,
I'm giving
it's
it to someone, it wouldn't
so
be Niko for this
we
tournament.
have two things. First of all, Spen, you went and said statistically, and then all you did was bring up ratings and numbers and whatever. So
Because it's a precedent. You're setting a
okay,
new precedent. We've never
instantly there, your
seen
argument kind of just
someone
falters.
playing this
But
low.
I think it's really simple. You said two, but to me and I think to John, we both agree that there's probably three players on Mouse who, if you look at this, you could easily say they had the best tournaments. They could win MVP. Now, if you break down the letters, it's the most valuable player. If there's three players on one team who could all contend for the MVP, and then there is one player on the other team in the finals, and then three mountains below the next player who could be considered the most valuable for that team, I think it's really easy to say the guy with the less help and the guy who performed way above all of his teammates, although he had a poor finals in two of the in most of the finals, because I do think he had one solid map, but I don't think it's fair to say that it's like Xerxin was robbed. I do think the stat that all
I've never said that. I said it's
sixes
not egregious, but he would not be my pick.
fair enough, but the only pushback I give myself is that happening to Mao 6 times is fucking hilarious. Like,
It's just because of how Mouse is set up. Like we were talking about
yeah,
no number one option. They don't have a number one option
that's
in their
true.
previous roster. It was frozen for a bit. I would
Yeah.
argue, but then obviously he went off to phase.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think it's just like you could have coin flipped between like a three-sided coin, and if you land on any one of those Miles players, you're like, justified. If you looked at like who else
Mm,
on Falcons could
no.
win that MVP trophy,
I
and
think you
it's
guys aren't
Niko and
taking into
nobody
account.
taking what? Sorry.
Oh, but you guys like are the biggest advocates for performing in the finals I've ever met. And
Yeah,
Xerxin was
100%.
clearly the best
I
player
would
in the
classify myself.
finals, and that's where it tipped the scale for me.
So
And
right.
you
it
gotta think
wasn't
about
a
how
close
good of a
finals. It was
tournament
not
Niko
close.
had for me
I
to
don't
go
care what
against.
he's doing in groups. Like, yeah, he had a good quarters and semis, and I think phase is a bad day. But like his
Don't do
group
that.
performance, I really don't. I don't care about it that much
That's
in a
I'm
tournament like
happy.
this.
I feel bad for him that you don't care about his performances, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I think the MVP went to the right person.
Same.
That's all I got for Cluj.
Like don't worry, I don't think it's like ridiculous if Xerxin were to have gotten it,
No,
but
me neither. But I'm
I
just not
think
throwing
they
my
made
arms
the
up in
right
the air
choice.
like the wrong
Like,
guy got. Nico's the best player at the event by a mile.
A bad precedent to set. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think that's precedent setting. I think you just listed
I really
six
It
other
don't think
is.
it is.
times it
Yeah.
happened where
I list it
that
had
player
nothing has
leads.
come close to like a point.
No, no,
If we're
no.
going off
But
rating, and
that's
in CS:GO, it was way harder to accumulate that high of a rating because you're playing way more rounds.
I
Yep.
disagree. I think rating 2.1
No, that's
has
objective, bro.
lowered ratings across the board.
It is
No.
way easier to farm rating in CS2. It's not a debate, bro.
I don't
Uh,
think players at the top
okay.
level
No,
are
no, no.
farming
You
ratings.
guys, no. You guys are like having two different discussions that like barely overlap. Okay. For rating 2.0, CS2, because the assist threshold is higher or is like lower, like it's
Mm.
easier to get an assist logged, and just because of the less rounds, it is easier to get a higher rating. However, since the transition to 2.1, teams that play very or players that are very baity or tend to save a lot are punished a lot more in the model. Not punished, but maybe more accurately assessed in the model, thus making it harder to get higher ratings if you're a player like Jame, if you're a player like Shiro, if you're a player like Blame F. But if you're a player like Niko or you're a player like Xerxin, the switch from 2.0 to 2.1 shouldn't really change much.
Fair enough. I think it's hilarious how anytime we bring up Jame on this podcast in 4 episodes, it's about how he saves, and I don't think we've touched on him at all besides
Jame
the
time,
fact that he
baby.
saves. Jame time.
Hey, VP was in this. Oh no, he's not on VP anymore. I lied.
Exactly. Do you guys want to touch on some VRS stuff before we get into the last segment? I know it's getting a little late here. I'm personally falling asleep, so we can do some current
Yeah.
events and kind of in the VRS shakeout.
Yeah, we kind of touched on it. I guess I will go through some VRS updates that happened because of PGL concluding, and we can maybe just give our quick thoughts on it.
Sure.
So Navi comes into the tournament that they don't play as fifth and they leave as ninth. It doesn't affect anything from a major qualification standpoint. They're still top 10 in Europe, which means they would go to stage, or sorry, they're still top. Actually, there is a difference. They're now from stage 3 in the major to stage 2 in the major. So they've dropped a stage. They can easily win it back in these next upcoming tournaments. I think I saw a bunch of people making kind of a fuss about it. I don't.
I think
Eh.
if this gets some more wins down the line, then it's Navi. They're a team that's contending to win the major. Who cares?
Yeah.
They're not a
They've also
Struggles.
looked shaky lately. I think they need the time to
Yeah, I
really
agree.
put it together, especially with Vitality looking like that.
Yep, I agree.
Sven?
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I'm so over this rating shit, right? Like at the start of the year now, dude.
I'm
It's
very
so
excited for it to
annoying.
just get like ironed out and like solidified, and then we have a system we know, and it's like we're not fucking guessing and like, oh, what does
Yeah.
this tournament miss mean for no
Mhm.
liquid? It's annoying.
Yeah, I get that. Like we already touched upon it, but like Pain now is the number one ranked Americas team, so they would get the stage 3 invite. Liquid would now go to stage 2. But honestly, at this point, like the VRS is so close
Yeah.
that it's like these next 2 tournaments, Lisbon and EPL, that's going to determine everything.
Right.
So it's probably not even worth bringing up too much right now, especially for how much we've already talked about it. So maybe just one thing with VRS I want to bring up is they made the change now so that you don't get VRS points unless the event ends, which means for ECL in both
Oh,
Europe and Americas, you no longer get VRS points for your wins and losses and matches in ECL until it ends, which means a bunch of teams that had Valve points for the MRQ qualification lost those points for MRQ qualifications.
weird. I was
Um,
okay. Well, do you think this doesn't affect a lot of teams, but like, is an M80 looking like fuck? We should have played ECL.
no, no, not
No,
at all.
you don't think so?
No, I think this change, the people that it affects would be akin to like Tsunami, MCS, Marsborn, maybe. Here, can I pull up Valve regional rankings for Americas? Yeah,
The
because
real
like these
ECL
teams,
grinders.
yeah, like the ECL grinders went from having an invite to the MRQ to now, well, there's no CCT. Luckily, they just announced a VRS online tournament
Yeah. Okay.
um, in North America, which might save a lot of teams' asses. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm curious if this means that maybe we might start seeing shorter seasons for like a UCA.
It kind of kills leagues, right? Like
It looks like it's going to kill leagues. It might also just shorten them. Like what right
Yeah.
now they do 3 seasons
two.
a year.
Oh.
No, not
Yeah.
UCL,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah. Yeah.
advanced
Yeah.
because this
Yeah.
also affects advanced.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe they make it 3 month seasons instead. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I don't know. Valve has been good enough to continuously be tweaking it until it's something that they're clearly happy with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too worried in the future. It sucks that there's like casualties to the system. Like Gamer Legion missed out on going straight to play-ins for EPL, I think is what they missed out on.
Yeah.
And then now there's a bunch of teams in North America and even Europe who thought they were going to get MRQ qualifier points through ECL that are no longer getting that. Um, but it's we are coming into this year. We knew it was going to be wrinkly. We knew it was going to be yucky and gross and like awkward. So
Yeah.
just got to live through it at this point. It sucks, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay. That's
It'll get
uh,
ironed out
in
eventually.
general. To be fair, like I wouldn't hate to see like the death of league. I don't think an
I mean,
esport
imagine
like
if
Counter Strike
ESCA
and
was just a bunch of tournaments.
that would be fucking great.
It's like, hey, every weekend we host like you have your skill ranking, like kind of. Oh, I'm basically describing what they do in like League of Legends, kind of. I
Take
think
some
maybe
notes.
Valorant has another
They
version
do.
of
They
this,
have that
but it's just
VCT
like,
stuff.
yeah, like you just have like, hey, it's like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, like you're kind of in a pool of teams. Like we'd be in all the main teams. So there's like, let's say there's
Yeah, you're still in the main
what, like
division,
100,
but
like there's 128 teams, right?
yeah.
So there'll be 4 team tournaments that are run every weekend, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like that's main. And if you win or you finish like top 2 in each tournament, then next weekend you get to play in advanced. If you finish, like if you just get like absolutely bounced like two tournaments in a row, your skill rating got adjusted, now you're an IM. I think
Yeah.
it could be fun. You still pay like a league pass fee to participate in it. I think tournament play
I
is a
mean, I
little more
think the
fun
problem you're seeing
than
with
league play,
yeah,
but
like the problem you're seeing with a
I
lot of
don't
these
know.
leagues in general is like maybe not 90, but like a large percentage of these guys are just like avoiding relegation and there's no hope for them to move up in advance, right? So like it'd be
Mhm.
nice to kind of see some more dynamic situations and like with best of one league matches, like how much are you really learning about teams? I don't know. So
Not much.
yeah,
Yeah.
best of one online league matches, fun stuff.
I
Might
don't
start
know.
at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
I think I would like
outside
that as an added feature, not a complete swap to that from league
to
matches.
me,
Because I like that CS is unique in that way that it does that. Like that's why I like it
That's
compared to
fair.
the only playing tournaments. I think tournaments get a little stale after a while, and
that's
you wouldn't
fair.
want to
I
just
think to me
rely
the
on
one thing
those.
I would like to see across the board and I don't know who would set the standard, but I think playing this game in its state with MR12 in best of ones, doesn't matter what you're playing in, is a joke.
Yeah,
Like
so
I know this is just off on a tangent that only affects pretty much us, but like what are we doing? Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of rough.
drives me nuts. Okay, roster news. We got some roster news.
Nothing too crazy this week for roster moves. There was a team in the PGL Bucharest close qualifier that sparked my interest when I saw the HLTV headline. So we got Yakinder, Nafany, Artfrost, Perfecto, and Alpha, who's the only player I'm not familiar with.
I have no idea.
But that's a pretty good Russian mix, right?
I like that actually. I think
Word.
Yakinder was never the problem. Not just 180.
Like on a
Um,
team like this, like Yakinder,
so
Artfrost,
Alpha
that could be a
was
decent 1-2
benched
punch.
by Paravision. Looks like.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, he was on Paravision with Art Frost then.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
unfamiliar with the name, but
They made it to the close qual. They're on a roller coaster.
Yeah, they're under a
and
roller coaster. Yeah,
he
they have a long way to
had
go.
a monster map against Arc.
I wouldn't look too far into the open
No, I know.
qualifier
It's just
bracket. I know they delayed the close qualifier, but I think it'd be fun to see Yeki play, right? I know it's
I
online
mean, define's
CS
fun.
and Perfect. Like, I don't know. To me, it's like if Yeki can just play in like a little bit more of a carefree environment like this, online CS, bro, just start W keying, just start wide swinging, dude. Feel the fun again in playing Counter Strike. Look closer to the pixels and discover your love again.
This is
And
messed
just
up, but like I'll be honest, when I'm just breaking down, like I've looked at like 7 of their games, like mm, mm, I don't know if he's W keying or maybe he's W keying too much, but Perfecto looks
uh,
great.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
so okay, it'll be that's
All
fine.
right.
And then we have here the Overdrive Telegram. Someone want to
Telegram.
elaborate on that?
Just yesterday, at least I saw it posted on Reddit. Overdrive said that there is a crazy transfer in the works involving a major team.
So I don't know if
That's it.
I don't know if it correlates, but did you guys see the wonderful stuff as well?
Well, yeah, so after Overdrive
That was
put that
fake,
out,
no.
Harumi started doing I can't stand that guy. He's clear, like he comes off as a troll to me. Maybe I'm tripping.
He's a
Um,
troll.
but Harume tweeted that like Wonderful was getting benched and they were bringing up the what's his name? Kumchuri
Hold up.
from
Not that one,
CM
buddy.
Try. I don't know. The opera from Navi Junior or Navi Academy, whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
and that's obviously blasphemy because
Um
we know what's gonna happen, and it
Cemetery, bro.
involves Sasha. So, I think we will
It's
fake
actually a
news.
tough
It's
name, bro.
fake news.
pronounce it, Ben. How would you call it?
I would call it cemetery.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Nah, hold on. Let me see the spelling before
Uh,
I.
there's no vowels, right? I'm not
Yeah,
tripping. Okay.
Navi
that's why.
Junior. Yeah, you called
Getting
him.
cemetery out of that is crazy. Wait, pause.
I do
CM
too,
try.
but I think
That's CM
come
try.
try is blasphemy. So
Yeah,
Nah,
come
if
try
his
was a bit
alias is
rough.
actually cemetery and he spells it like that, that's hard, bro. I like that.
Yeah. What if it's like come try me, bro? No?
it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I think I
What are we
can't see
thinking,
Navi
right?
making a change till after the major anyways, to be honest. I think they're at least giving this roster
Hey,
till
hey,
then.
there's a good chance they skipped PGL. They decided to boot camp, and now JL like punched Wonderful in the face. Like you
I
don't know what's happening behind the scenes. It
you
could be
think
I highly doubt.
scandalous. It could be drama filled.
I think the one guy on that team who isn't getting punched in the face is wonderful. I just can't see him like he's just so like innocent. He's so like,
Yeah, it would be
Mm.
like
Ema, bro. You
you're
already know.
punching Ema, you're bitch slapping him
Yeah,
across the fucking face.
Jail's fucking putting a fist through Ema's
Or
teeth.
Blade. Like one of them two's getting slapped, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's also worth noting that both JL and the Navi manager, CS manager came out and said this is fake news, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
like not that that's not obvious, but two of them going out of their way to dispel the rumor, I think is kind of telling. So
yeah.
I don't really buy into that. I am curious if that's what Overdrive was, because I mean, pretty good track record. Like,
He's pretty good track record in the Russian like cis region scene.
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything outside of that, he's
What
very
if it's a Monacy
wishy-washy.
sale?
Well, that's what a lot of people are speculating. It's like maybe
What if
Monacy
Niko's like, oh
to
my god, we have potential. Later,
yeah.
Dexter.
Dude, after how
They wouldn't do
happy
it after
Dexter
that one.
was,
Yeah.
dude,
I will
yeah,
say
dude,
the one
bro.
thing I really, really, really enjoyed about watching Falcons play was the passion Dexter brought. He
Oh,
was
dude, when
happy to
he's
be
on
there.
and he's locked in, hell yeah, dude.
He was
He looks
happy to be there.
delightful.
Like half his value, bro.
Maybe more than half. All right. For our last segment here, are we good? Are we anything else we want to get into before?
I don't know of anything else to bring up, so no.
All right, we have a guess the player hosted by Jonathan. Jonathan, how the fuck is this gonna work?
Alrighty. Okay, so you and Spenny, you
Okay.
guys each got 3 guesses.
Oh shit.
You may use your guesses whenever you like. When you're out of guesses, you're out of guesses. I have 10 clues or hints assigned to a player that I will rifle off one by one. After each clue, you'll have the option to choose whether you want to guess who the player is or not. The amount of clues for every clue you get, the less points you get for getting it correct.
Okay.
And
Let's
yeah,
go. Let's get her
sound
going.
good?
Do we get points for having more guesses in the reserve or no?
I'm gonna say no for now.
So I
But
should start battling off guesses after like third question.
Well, then no one gets points. Right?
well, the thing is you only have 3 guesses. So if you whiff on your 3, that's that.
Okay.
But I would probably be throwing a guess out after like clue 3 or 4. Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. Let's go. I'm ready.
Alrighty. Okay.
Device.
So player number 1.
Doesn't count.
This player has been in the HLTV top 20.
Okay.
Okay. Next question.
All right. Jay, you're good. You don't want to guess, Jay, off
No,
that?
no, I'm good, man. Good.
All right. This player has won a notable trophy with 3 separate organizations.
Trophy on 3 orgs. Okay. Okay.
All right. All right. This player has competed in 7 majors.
Weak, bro. 7?
All right. Any guesses? Any takers?
No.
Okay.
I
One
have
of the
in my head,
orgs.
but
Okay. One of the orgs this player has played under is Dignitas. Anyone? Okay. Now, this next one, it's going to completely open this up. Ready?
Wait, what if I want to guess?
Oh, would you like to guess? When I say anyone, I need you to speak up.
Yeah, I thought you were talking to Jay.
Oh.
I want to
that's
guess
stupid.
AZ.
All right. So that is going to be a guess of AZ. That is incorrect. All right. Any guesses, Jay?
No, no, no.
All right. This one's going to blow it open. This player is Danish. Resides from Denmark.
Did nothing for me.
Like,
All right.
keep it going. Keep it going.
All right. Okay. This player
Okay, I have an inkling.
has played for North.
Guessing.
Config.
All right. So Jay guesses config. That is incorrect.
You got a buzz or what is this, bro?
Well, you guessed first. Like, I'm going to give him the right way, you know. So
Okay,
let me hear it, Span.
I want to guess MSL.
Ooh, great guess.
Did I get it? You cut the fuck out.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry. You did not get it. That was incorrect.
God damn it, bro.
My apologies.
Has
All right.
MSL won 3 different.
One guess remaining.
I know
Good
you won
sir,
one on
Spenny.
Dig and one on North. So I was thinking
Alrighty.
you won one.
This player is currently 26 years old.
How the fuck does that
How
help?
many more
though?
hints we got, bro?
3.
Oh god.
So he's young. He's played on Dig, he's played on North, he's Danish.
I have another one, but I don't. Okay, what's the next one?
Yeah.
You want the
I
next
thought-
one? This next one, I'm telling you, is going to blow it wide open.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
This player
Played
Can I?
has
on-
played. Do you want to guess?
No, go.
This player has played on FaZe.
Okay, I gotta guess.
Yeah, I would have guessed easy by now.
Kirby.
Correct.
Damn it. When did he play on
Nice.
FaZe?
Nice job.
Astralis,
He-
North, Dig.
He played on phase with like cold zero twists, I'm pretty sure. I can pull it up if you want an exact lineup.
It was
Damn.
that bullshit roster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest,
hook you
dude.
up,
Telling
give
us
me a
he's
sec.
26 years old does nothing for.
Well, you're thinking like MSL, Cajun B,
Yeah,
like these
yeah,
guys are a lot older now.
that's
I was
true.
just trying to like kind of.
Cajun B. That guy went to way more majors than 7.
Okay, fair enough.
I was
I was
thinking
thinking
fringe
like,
guys
how many
who like
Mickey
sometimes
Mouse
have
wins
missed
did
it.
Rubino have back in the day? Like,
He's not Danish.
is he not?
No.
No, he's Norwegian.
He's Norwegian.
So Kjerby played with Brokey, Cold Zera. Was he there for Kerrigan? I can't really follow the
Brokey,
I do
line.
not remember that team.
This fugazi ass
Niko,
roster.
he was there for part of Niko and then Rain.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. I didn't
We got dropped for
like the
choice.
phase question. Didn't really do it for
Derpy-ass
me. It was the
team.
one prior where I was like, or not the one prior, but
Probably was the age.
not the age one, the one before that. I just, dude, I'm so
Did he
scared.
play for
'cause of-
North?
I'm so
Oh,
scared
okay.
because of my Jeopardy performances. I just couldn't like, I couldn't like free fire, dude.
Well, congratulations, Jay.
Oh, I want something.
You got 3 points for that.
Yeah, I did. Thanks,
Oh,
mom.
alrighty.
Thanks, dad.
Player number 2.
Oh, there's more players.
I have 3 players for you
Oh
guys.
shit.
Originally had 4, but I did one with Spen earlier because he was bored.
Okay.
So, next player. This player has had 3 placements in the HLTV top 20.
Oh, I forgot that was a clue for the last one. That would have negated the MSL guess.
Yeah.
Oh man, I did too.
This player has played in 14 majors.
That's a
There's a lot. Any guesses?
No, not yet.
All right, this is the next one's a fun one. This player has won a LAN with 6 different teams.
Orgs or rosters?
Orgs.
6 orgs.
When you
6
say LAN,
orgs. What do you mean?
like tier 1, tier 2, like big LAN, like local.
Professional LANs.
Wait, what was the second clue?
This player has played in 14 majors.
Shit.
All
How
right.
many teams?
What, sorry?
How many teams did he win lands with?
6 different teams.
6 teams.
I would like to add that using
Have a
HLTV
guess.
as we do this is not allowed.
I'm not using HLTV.
Okay, you have a guess?
No, not run one more. I think I have a good guess though.
All right. This player has 4 HLTV MVPs.
4 MVPs.
4 MVPs.
6 orgs, 4 MVPs, 14
Any
majors.
guessers?
Nah, this ain't checking out, but close. Close.
Yeah,
All
Could
right,
be.
this,
It could be.
this next one's a huge one.
3. Yeah, it could be, honestly.
This player is French. Resides from en français.
Have a good guess.
How many French players have played? They've
Any
all played long,
guessers?
but
Any guessers? No?
Sick. Hold on.
14 majors, dude. Who's played that long? Like,
Bro, all of them are gonna be up.
dude, 14 majors. I guess majors aren't every year, but like,
I think there was 20 of them total in CSGO.
man, there was 20 CSGO majors. And Niko couldn't win
Yeah.
one.
And Dupree went to all of them.
Holy fuck. Okay. Yeah, I need another hint.
Can I go, Spen?
All right, one more.
All right, this player has played for the team Envy.
Doesn't help
They
at
all
all,
did.
bro.
They all did. You could have just
They're an
left it- you
incestuous
coulda
group.
just-
The
no, you
French,
coulda just
the
left it at
French,
they're
can,
French. Like, we would have known.
Yeah.
the French
French
group
they
are
played on
definitely
6
quite
orgs, dude. They played on
incestuous.
Envy, Envious, Team
All right,
Envy.
I might as well
That's
throw it a
3.
guess.
Sure.
So I'm gonna say Apex.
That is incorrect. Do you have a guess? Good Sir Jaden?
You know, just go Kenny. Like, it's not right, but
It's not Kenny.
we'll throw
I
out a
didn't play
guess.
on that many orgs.
All right. This player is currently in his 30s. old head.
All right, I'll throw out another guess.
Yep.
MBK.
Ding, ding, ding.
Dude, I was gonna say that
Yo.
last round, but I was like, because he's been on every jersey possible, but like, has he won with every jersey possible? Can I know the teams he was on that he won with? Do you have them?
LDLC, Very Games,
Like
NV Titans.
literally every
Every
LD. Like, so
franchise.
he won. The next clue was that he's won 2 majors, which like should have been like the real dagger. I can
Fuck.
pull
Could've
up
been-
his
yeah.
career. His illustrious career.
Damn.
But
I should have
I'm pretty sure he won with so he's won with Very Games, Titan, LDLC, Envy, G2, and Vitality.
Oh yeah, too. Yeah, that's what I knew. Apex was similar. It's either between those two for me.
Yeah. All right, so right now Spenny leads by 1 point because he got 4 for that.
Okay.
So this next one's going to be the breaker. All right, I'm not going to lie, this next one was intended to be a bit challenging, so
God.
I hope you guys enjoy. This player has never been in the HLTV top 20.
Ooh.
It's me.
I feel like Miss Casey talking about your Audi has never been in the HLTV top 20. You don't get that yet, Jay, but you'll appreciate it
My
soon.
Audi's a bitch.
I know all about the Audis now.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, can I throw another hint out there?
Yes, you can, sir.
This
Up
player
till
has
5.
this player has over $135,000 in tournament earnings.
Over?
Over.
Oh,
Not bad. All right.
some would say good.
This player has competed in 2 majors. Anyone?
Keep it going.
All right. This player has represented 2 historic esports brands on LAN.
Okay, keep going.
You're good, Sven?
Yeah.
This player has won a Blast event.
Who hasn't? Am I right?
Can I go next?
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This player is currently 21 years old.
Yeah, he had to be a youngin with that kind of cash. It's
Mhm.
gotta be like
Any guesses?
What young
No.
fuck
not yet.
has
What
only
young
one
buck?
blast?
You say he's never been in the top 20?
He has not been in the top 20. Nope.
2 org.
One blast. 2 orgs. Did they win? You said 2 prestigious orgs, right?
Yep.
I don't know
Historic.
if he won a blast, but can I throw out a guess?
Sure.
Heavy God?
No. Good shout though. Good shout though.
Because younger, not win, no winnings. I don't know if they could have snuck a blast on that C9 team. I don't know.
Oh, it would have been with like Endpoint or like OG, I think. I don't think that C9
I
team
wasn't
was
watching
together
back
long
then.
enough. That's that was
Alright, I
like
got
earlier
nothing.
this year. All right. Next clue. This is where it gets fun. This player has played for Evil Geniuses.
Can I guess?
Let me hear it.
Nealon?
Incorrect.
My heart
shout, though.
dropped, dude. I was like, how the fuck does he? Fuck.
Any
thought it was
any
Heavy
guess,
God.
Jay?
No.
All right. Next clue.
Yeah.
This player is American.
Shocker. They played on EG.
I mean, Nealon's not American.
Nealon is a wild guess.
It was a great guess, actually.
2 prestigious orgs. I'm gonna help Spen here while I talk out loud. Like, you got to think what he also played on. Like
Alright.
who crossed between. You know what? I'm not gonna do that
Can't be
actually.
him. Can't be him. Won a blast event? What kind of fucking 120K is like firm though. That's
Well, how much
more
is the
than
average
just a
blast win?
blast.
Like,
Bro, it's no American players winning a fucking blast event that's not already an established American. You know what I mean? Play for
only
complexity.
130K in earnings?
Okay, I'm gonna throw out another guess.
Yeah,
Is it oboe?
it is oboe.
Let's fucking go.
Good fucking catch.
Yes,
Well,
never
what gave it
forget my
away to
boy
you?
Oboe. Never forget. Because I'm like, bro, the players on the team right now, just or in the last couple of years of EG, don't make sense. They're either gonna have made too much money or too little money. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm thinking back to the other complexity
Wander's land
teams.
25K, baby. I don't know. Well, that was energy.
Yeah, that's fucking 5K a person. And then I'm
Fuck,
thinking
dude.
like, when did complexity win
I wouldn't
something
have guessed
or
Obo
EG?
for. Oh, okay. Congrats, Spen, you fucking asshole.
All right, that's Spenny with 7 points total, and Jay with 3 points total.
I'll take it. It was commendable. Shout
I
out
mean,
Kirby.
yeah, very commendable. The next clue, by the way, would have been this player has teamed with Rush. And then lastly, this player was the youngest player to ever compete in a major.
That one wouldn't have helped me at all, but the Rush one would have. So,
Yeah. So he's 21 now, but when he first made his
Good.
debut, he was 15.
god damn,
That's crazy.
So young.
he
Crazy.
fell off
young.
a cliff. That lad.
Sad story actually with Obo, but yeah.
I don't know any
He'll be back.
context. If that was an asshole move, my fault.
No, I don't think it was asshole move. Just I don't know. Like nothing's like properly released, but it just a lot of weird stuff with him. So,
Okay, because he hasn't played since what 2021,
2020, I think.
like COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Just post COVID, like during COVID, I guess maybe.
He's
Interesting.
in
I don't
his
know.
last hope, bro, like Roka was.
Yeah, he's only 21.
2020.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I think that's
start
all we
of
got.
2022. Yeah, that's all we got. So pretty
All
fun
right.
little bit of trivia at the end here.
Appreciate you putting it together. Thank you everybody for watching. We are fucking exhausted if you cannot tell by this point in the video. We do appreciate everybody who tuned in. If you guys did enjoy, please do not leave without leaving a like, comment, and subscribing. And we will see you in the next one where hopefully Josh makes an appearance.
Hopefully.
Peace. Fuck, boys.